So, do you know why we're here speaking with you today then?
Um, I'm guessing this is a continuation from last time.
Could you tell me what that was over?
The issue of Brianna Grier.
Okay. Do you remember when that happened?
Um, about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay. Do you remember the exact date that it happened?
I want to say it was no. I'll just say no because I don't remember exactly
Okay.
that date.
Okay. So, just tell me, what happened that night?
Okay. We received a call, and to the best of my knowledge, the call was about Brianna's mother called and said that she had been dropped off by a white male, and she was walking up and down the road, and she was knocking on the door, the hospital. That was the call we got. So when we got there, Brianna was standing in the yard at like the top of the driveway. Lieutenant Promise pulled in first. I pulled in second, and Brianna was on the phone talking to someone. I'm not quite sure who. As she was talking to that person on the phone, Lieutenant Promise and then myself walked up towards the house where Miss Mary was standing on the porch, and Miss Mary and Lieutenant Promise began to talk about what was the purpose of us being there. At this point, I'm standing there, but at the same time, I'm looking around to see, keep an eye on like what Miss Brianna going, what she's doing. I'm trying to focus on what Lieutenant Promise and Miss Mary are talking about. So I didn't engage in that conversation so much, so I couldn't tell you exactly how that conversation went between Lieutenant Promise and Miss Mary.
Gotcha.
All right, so the one thing that when I started kind of being more involved in the actual situation that was going on was when Mr. Marvin came. I don't know if he was outside or if he was just standing over in the dark, but he saying that Brianna had been drinking. And at that time, Lieutenant Promise went to his truck, got some gloves. He came back and he asked Brianna if she had been drinking, and it might not be verbatimly, but I'm pretty sure she said, "I got it out there and pointed at the house." But she said something along those lines. So when she said that, Lieutenant Promise began to, he asked me for cuffs, my handcuffs, because he stated he didn't have his keys. So I gave him my cuffs. He put it on one wrist. I'm not certain which one now, but he put it on one wrist. At that point, Brianna, she didn't, it's kind of hard to explain, she didn't fall to the ground, but she kind of just sat straight down. So when she sat down, she stated that, she would, she'd go to jail, she would kill. Oh, let me back up, I'm sorry. When Lieutenant Promise went to his truck and came back, he had asked me to get my camera out of my vehicle. So when he got back, I went to my vehicle and got my body camera, and I got some mask for Ms. Brown. So, all right, now we're back to the part where she's sitting on the ground and he put a cuff on her, one cuff on her. And she's sitting on the ground, she stated that she's gonna, kill herself. I can't remember exactly what all was said because it was a lot of talking, but that was the gist, I'm gonna kill myself. And at that point, Lieutenant Promise, it's somewhere around that point, Lieutenant Promise put the other handcuff on the other wrist. When and when he did that, Brianna was still sitting on the ground, and he was telling her that he would, get some help for her tomorrow. Um, and like I said, I can't remember the verbatim of where everything was said, but I know he was telling her he was going to get help for her tomorrow and things of that nature. So then he went down to pick up, like on her own, it'd be on her left side. So he went down to pick up on her own, and she wasn't really getting up, so she kind of like just, kept resisting to the extent like wouldn't get up with him. So then when I went on, I was already on the right side, so I was on the right side, so I started helping him up on the other side. So we on each side of her, trying to lift her up. So we lift her, and she still wouldn't cooperate. So we just put her back down. When we put her back down, Lieutenant promised. Again, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but I know he said that he wanted to, like, come on, let's go and carry her to the car. So he grabbed her feet, and I grabbed on her both arms, but I had my hands kind of out. So when I did that, when we did that, I remember he did state something about charging her with kicking him. He said something about, you get charged with obstruction for kicking or something like that. So anyway, so we get her up, and we carry her. Her arms, like under her arms, on my forearm, so she started slipping a little bit. So I said, like, let's put her down so I can catch her, but placed on the ground, not even let it go. I slid my arms on the more, picked up again. We took her onto the car. I can't really remember if she was saying much at that point, but I think she was talking, but not as much as she was. She just, like, it wasn't as much as it was at first. When we get to the car, when we get to my patrol car, I always lock my doors, like, on no calls. So the door was locked. When the lieutenant got to the door, he tried to open the door, and it was locked. So we had to put Brianna on the ground, like place on the ground, and unlock the car door. I did it with I have my keys on my side, so I just did it from the side, my side. So once I did that, Lieutenant Promise walked around the trunk of my car to the back passenger door. He opened the door, and he came back around. When he came back around, Lieutenant Promise picked Brianna up and placed it in the car. I feel like I missed something right there. I think I'll come back to it. But once we get her in the car, once we get her in the car, if I remember correctly, I think I'm pretty sure I asked Lieutenant Promise if he had, closed my door because I saw when he went over there. He stated yes. I looked through the car and the door was closed, so I told him I was going to go ahead and take Brianna onto the SO. And at that time, he was walking around to his vehicle. I'm sorry. So once we get her in the car, I actually lost my Bluetooth. So I was like looking for it on the ground. He asked me what I was looking for. We kept looking for it. We stayed out there for a couple of minutes looking for that, my Bluetooth and whatnot. So now by this time, once I found it, I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take her off to the SO. So once I said that, I know he said something to the parents. I don't know what it was, but it was like, how you like stand right in front of the car, you say something to them.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and backed out. When I backed out, I drove, I just backed out of the yard. Once I backed out, I drove forward. I couldn't even tell you, it wasn't, I don't even know it was a tenth of a mile. It was a real short distance. And the next thing I know is I had the red interior light on in my car, and I saw a reflection of something going on in the back seat. So when I look back, I'm kind of mashing the brakes and looking back at the same time, and that when I noticed some part, not sure what part, but some part of Miss Brown going out the door. I stopped my car. I stopped, stop the car. I get out. Once I get out of the car, I'm like literally taking my time because I don't know if she like running through the woods. I can't see her. I don't know what she's doing, so I'm taking my time to make sure like it ain't no surprises for me. So once I see her laying on the ground, we were going, in my opinion, we were going real slow. So I'm thinking like it wasn't that wrong. So I'm still being cautious while I walk up on her until I get up on her and call her name. I kind of hear like some kind of like snoring. That when I really kind of realized she was unconscious. But before then, I didn't even know she was unconscious or anything. She was laying in the grass, so I kind of stood over, patting her on both sides, like, calling her name, like, Brianna, come on, get up, Brianna. She never responded. But, and by that time, keep in mind, I was just a few seconds, a short period of time in front of Lieutenant Promise. So by that time, he actually was just pulling up, getting out the car himself, and he asked me what was going on. And I told him that when I told my man, I don't know if I said Brianna or like she just jumped out the car, and that when kind of like the runner and aid kind of started, and he would call her name, attempting to give her water, splashing water on her face. While all this going on, I'm calling the ambulance, or Grady brother. I'm calling Grady. And I don't want to say that was it, because it wasn't it, but that was like, after that we pretty much doing the same thing, continuing trying to give her aid, waiting on the hospital, Grady to get there. And that was, like I said, like pretty much the rest of what was going on until Grady got there.
I gotcha. And now to just go back over the story, just that we can get very clarifying things about this. When you got the call, you said that the call came from Brianna's mom, saying that she was walking around like beating on the door, whatever. Was there ever an indication of her being under the influence of anything?
I can't give like a straight answer about that. Because it's been on certain calls with her before that were quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
That's, in my opinion, the calls I went on, that kind of how she had, which usually was coming from some kind of substance. But I mean, that was just I just got used to her acting that.
So it was her usual manner then, that
right.
She was acting in, that you guys were used to.
With me, because see, I work with another deputy, and the calls that I used to go on, Brianna usually had been out all night, and those types of things. So that was just, to me, it was just a normal night. So it kind of hard for me to say, like, was it something so much different that night? Not really. So.
How many times do you think you've actually been in contact with Brianna then?
I've been in contact with her. I mean, I can give you a real number, but
yeah, if you just have to estimate off the top of your head.
I've been out to that particular house probably at least 5-6 times. I've been out to the other house out on Juniper a few times, so probably about the same amount.
The Juniper location, why that location?
That's where her auntie stays.
Okay, I gotcha. Do you know her aunt's name, anything like that?
I do not.
Okay, you just know that you've been to that location before?
Yeah. I've been out there a few times, but I don't know her name.
Okay, do you know the address to that place?
No, it's only a few houses on that road though.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, did you ever, personally smell any kind of like alcohol on her breath or anything like that?
I was never, like, facing her. I was almost always to the side or standing in the distance. And when I picked her up, it's like she was facing that way. So no,
I gotcha. And I know you said that you weren't really a part of the conversation that Prentice was having with Mr. Marvin. But you said that Marvin had come out and said that she had been drinking. You had specifically heard him say that she had been drinking.
Right.
Did he say specifically what she had been drinking?
No. No. And like I said, I don't know if he was standing over on the porch for a while when he came out, but I just remember the first thing I heard him, like didn't even know he was out there. The first thing I heard from him was like, and I can't remember verbatim, but I think like, and she been drinking. Like whatever conversation going on, he was like adding on to it, like, and she been drinking.
Okay.
So, and like I said, that when she was like, I got it out of there, she pointed right at the house. So, and I want to say, he might have just came out. It seemed like at that time too, it was like the little boy that ride my bus. It was one of the little children that came to the door at the same time when all that was going on.
Okay.
So,
now,
he used to ride my bus.
drinking, are we specifically talking about alcohol here?
From my understanding, that I mean, this is just, I wouldn't know, you know, that, but from that, the only thing I can see him saying, so that was the first thing that came to my mind. But
I gotcha. All right. And when you're going through this, I mean, how was she acting?
Majority of the conversation, which is why I was kind of like focusing between the two. Majority of the conversation, she was at the beginning of the driveway, which would be in kind of to our left, behind us to the left. So I'm kind of standing there watching all sides, and you know, trying to watch all sides. But majority of the conversation, she was standing there on the phone. She was kind of irate, kind of yelling, kind of crying.
Yeah.
Just, you know, kind of having that kind of fit at that time.
Okay, so she's being very verbal then, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, but she was on the phone. She wasn't talking to us. She was just on the phone. And I think a few times, you know, she would kind of chime in about whatever Lieutenant Promise and Miss Mira were talking about. You know, I guess she was kind of like responding to them. But for the most part, she was on the phone talking to whomever she was talking to.
Do you know who she was talking to?
No. No. I mean, I want to say that I heard at some point, but I don't really know. I think I'm pretty sure Brianna at some point said she was talking to our dispatch, but at the same time, if I remember correctly, it seemed like, you know, she got off the phone, or at least I took it that she got off the phone a few times. So, but I think at one point she said that she was talking to, I don't know if she said, I'm talking to y'all, or she said I'm talking to the jail or something like that, you know, so.
Okay.
But I still couldn't be like 100% sure about it.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I forgot to ask this too. When you guys actually, you know, responded to the scene, what was the location?
I used to tell you, I'm pretty sure it's 4818 Hickory Grove. I know it's Hickory Grove, but I think that's the exact address. Feels good.
Now, did you guys drive together? Did you guys drive separate?
Separate vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah, Lieutenant Promise was in his SUV house in Mount Jordan.
Okay, I gotcha. Who was leading the way?
He was.
Okay. When you pulled up to the actual location, I mean, where did y'all stage y'all's vehicles at?
Okay, so the yard, when you first turn into the yard, it's like, I guess, bushes or little small trees or something like that lining the driveway, which is not that far into the driveway, but, excuse me. So, when you first pulled in, Lieutenant Promise pulled in first, and my car, his car pretty much passed the bushes, and my car was like, where the bushes on both sides of my car.
Okay.
So we're right at the top of the driveway. My car was right at the top of the driveway.
And I remember you saying like earlier in this interview that she was like at the top of the driveway. I mean, where exactly was that?
Where she would have been, it kind of, if this my car, if Bush is here, Lieutenant Promise car here. Well, when you get into the yard, it's the bushes, but it kind of like started to spread out a little bit. Some of it paid, some of it not, but it's some like, I guess like patio furniture or some kind of little things they got just sitting out in the yard, like, which would have been kind of like in between my car and his car basically. And she was standing like right over in that area where that stuff was.
Okay. you know, just for our sake of us understanding where exactly you're talking about, would you be willing to draw us a quick picture or diagram showing that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I try my best to draw something close.
Oh, listen, I'm not expecting it to be any kind of like concert or anything like that. So,
Okay. So, alright, so they're going, that's the driveway, where the trees and stuff are. No bushes really. Alright, so my car right in the middle of this. So once you get into the yard, it kind of like started, this concrete started like kind of going out like that. And I don't think go out there for on this side. This just yard over here. Then up here, we got the house, but at the same time, my car here, lieutenant car here, and I don't know how many cars, but about 3 or 4 cars right up in here somewhere. So by the time we get there, like I said, I'm about in this area somewhere. We right behind each other though, and Brianna probably like right up in here, and she walking back and forward in that little area.
okay. Would you be able to mark like where the tops of the vehicles are, like where the front is? And now, would you be able to just identify whose vehicle that one is?
I just put LT.
Yeah, you could do that. And then,
I'm gonna put it on. My name.
and then would you be able to identify that that's Brianna right there? Now, were her parents outside of the residence at this point?
When I first initially got out my car, the mother was already on the steps, but of course she in front of me, SUV. I don't know if she just walked out or if she had been just standing there waiting on her.
Okay, I got you.
She was already on the porch when by the time I got out and got up.
Okay. Would you be able to just date and sign that form for me?
So they
The 25th. Thank you. Alright, so she's off kind of in that corner then. That's kind of where do you guys find her at?
When we got there, we had to walk right by her, but you know, like I said, she was on the phone and you know, talking to whomever and kind of upset, so we just walked right by her and started talking to the mother.
Okay. At what point do you guys decide to, you know, kind of go hands on and decide that, you know, you guys are going to take her into custody?
I decided when he asked me for my cuffs and she wasn't, you know, like cooperating, trying to help, you know, not help, but get up with him and all. Then when I decided to help him get her to the vehicle.
Yeah. So it was then Lieutenant Primus then who kind of was the one who said, give me your cuffs, who initiated taking her into custody then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he say what he was taking her into custody for?
It was public drunk. I think that he stated public drunk.
I gotcha. So then he asked for your handcuffs, and then you give him the handcuffs, and he goes and puts it on the one wrist, and she kind of falls, almost is kind of what you said. She like drops to the ground, or you know, however she drops. Okay. Now, when you guys actually bring her over to the vehicle, there was a point in time where you mentioned that Lieutenant, you know, walked around the rear of your vehicle, around that trunk, and went over to the passenger side, the rear passenger side.
Right.
Did he open that door?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember like how far he had opened that door?
It was wide open. When he came back on my side and he opened that door, I'm standing kind of on the side where my front door be. I'm standing like on closer to that side. Brianna sitting kind of by my back tire, and he just walked around the car. So at that point, I could see straight in the car. You could see straight through.
Okay, so it was wide open
Yeah.
though. All right. Now I know that there's a lot of like, as you showed on your diagram, there's a lot of bushes, and it's kind of like a tight driveway situation that you have going on. Did the bushes in any way obstruct how far that door could open?
I wouldn't know on the passenger side.
Okay.
Because I never went on that side.
Okay. Well, what about the driver's side then? Did you have any
Um,
problems opening the door?
No, I do know. When I pulled in closer to the passenger side just so I can get out because it was a little tight. But the driver's side wasn't no issue.
Okay, I got you. So you're able to push that wide open and it was fine. Okay. How far away would you say that your passenger side was from the bushes?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Alright, but you could clearly see though that passenger rear was wide open. You said. Okay. What happened after Deputy Primus opened up that door?
Which one?
The rear passenger.
That's when he came. He came right back around, and then he just picked Brianna up by himself, put her in the car.
Okay.
At that point, she's still talking a little bit. Like when I say talking, I mean like kind of fussy, but just not as much as she had been out before. And she kind of talked a little bit. He put her in the car,
Okay.
and he closed that door. But I don't know at what point he closed it. I don't know if he closed and came around, but I do know when I asked him about it, I looked through the car and the door went wide open or closed.
So during that then, when he was at that rear passenger side, what was his purpose of going over to that rear passenger side?
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I could guess, but I couldn't tell you what he was doing.
Did he get inside the vehicle at all, or did he stay on the outside?
I don't recall him ever getting inside. It was on. Oh, you talking about passenger side still?
Yeah.
I don't think he ever got in. I think he opened it and looked in, but I can't remember him just like actually picking the head in and getting in, or I mean, not getting in, but like actually put part of everybody in. I don't remember him doing that.
Now, do you remember if he had shut the door or anything like that?
I really can't say because I know I asked if he had closed it, and I don't know if I saw him close. I can't even say that. I know for a fact what happened. I asked. I know that, and I know it was wide open. And I looked again, and it was closed. So I can't remember if I just saw him pushed up. I don't really know.
Now I know that they make very distinct sounds as well. When a latch goes, it's a very particular sound. Did you at all hear a latch catch or anything like that?
I can't say because, like I said, I don't even remember at what point if I even saw him push. I can't say. We had just got finished putting her in the car, and I probably need to exercise a little bit too because my vest was kind of tight, and I was huffing and puffing and trying to find my Bluetooth and all kind of stuff. So I can't say that I heard anything because I really don't recall hearing anything.
I gotcha. So after that, then he walks back around, as you said, and he's the one who goes down and picks Brianna up. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And you said that he placed her into your vehicle. Do you remember how he put her into your vehicle?
I couldn't tell you how he put her in there, but I do know how he had her, like when he picked her up. And I just know that it was simple. It was like at this point, you know how it kind of took both ways to get her from point A to point B. Like when he picked her up, she said one, two little more things, and he just picked her up and just put her right in the car. Now, how he put it in, I don't know.
I got you. Now, when I say how he put her in, I mean I'm talking like did her feet go in first or
that's what I mean.
first?
That's what I meant. I don't know like how he placed it in there. I just know by that point things had appeared to start kind of like coming down. Even though she still was saying a little bit, but it wasn't as animated from when we first got there to now to that point. So
now you said you do remember though him how he picked her.
Yeah, I remember how he picked her up. Yeah.
In what hand do you remember what hand her feet were located and what hand like her head was located in?
No.
How did he pick her up?
Okay, so how he picked her up is, you know how like one arm be kind of like under somebody's knee, like a top or something. He kind of like got him by the back and one arm. He picked her up like that, but I can't remember how she was facing and whatnot.
So kind of like one arm behind the knees, and
Yeah.
the other one kind of like behind the back.
Right.
Okay.
Kind of like how you kind of pray to a child or something. Kind of like pick them up and just
Okay.
something like that. But I just don't remember which way she was facing and whatnot.
What happened after he put her into your vehicle?
He put her in once he put her in the car, he closed the driver's side door. Closed the driver's side door, and it was like she was just at the corner. She was kind of like leaning over in the seat a little bit, and like she was just.
How was she leaning over in the seat?
Alright, so she kind of like sitting in the back seat, and she kind of like, I don't know if her hand was like that, but she was kind of like leaning to the side.
Okay, so she was leaning to her right side.
Right.
Was she facing forward?
At this point, my lights off, so I really didn't see all that.
Okay, but you could see that she was leaning. I guess to orient ourselves, if she was leaning this way, would her head be facing towards the passenger rear door?
Like the top of her head?
Mm-hmm.
It should be like kind of headed in that direction.
So she's leaning more towards the passenger side.
Right.
Okay. So she was leaning into the back driver's side door.
No, she wasn't leaning over like this. She was kind of like sitting like on the driver's side, and she was kind of like just imagine like somebody sitting like this. It was more so like that, but I can't remember what her hand was. I didn't see her hand in there, but she was just kind of like.
Okay. So imagine the door's right here, right?
The passenger door?
Yeah, the passenger side door is right here for me.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that the passenger side door is right here, and it's usually kind of like over, like this way.
The passenger side
The
door?
driver, which?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Imagine that this is the driver's side. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's my mistake. Imagine that this is the driver's side door right here. So then she's leaning like towards the center.
Her bottom is closer to the driver door, but she's kind of more so leaning, but she's just leaning like she ain't laid out across the seat in there, but it was kind of like that.
Okay. Were you able to see like where her hands were or anything like
I
that?
couldn't, because I turned my red light on after I got in the car. It wasn't on the whole while, so I couldn't see back there.
Okay.
And that car right there, the lights only come on at the bottom.
Okay.
When you open the door.
So what happened after then that Deputy Primus shut the door?
Okay, so after he shut the door, that's when I started looking for my Bluetooth. I looked for a good little minute, like walking up and down, probably, I knew I had to lose it somewhere closer to, by our car, so I knew I had to lose somewhere up in there, because I remember when it fell out. But, so I just looked for it, but it turned out to be by my rear driver's side tire. And when I found it, I kind of like pretty much told Lieutenant Promise, like I found it, and like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and take her on to this. So, and that's when I got in my car, I turned the light on, and I started backing out. Then when I backed out, I just drove on off, and by that time, I'm assuming he was coming behind me by that time, because he was right behind me, but I mean, I didn't really just see him back there. I know he couldn't be too focused by the time I stopped, and all he was pulling up.
Now, when you had turned on your light and you said that you had started going back out the driveway to drive off to the sheriff's office, did you happen to see where Brianna was sitting?
At this point, keep in mind it's in charge of the cage, the bottom part of the cage. It ain't, I ain't that tall, so when I turn around, like I could see the cage, I could see the top of the seat, but I couldn't see down in there.
Okay, I got you. So you couldn't really see where her body was or anything like that?
No.
So then she was laying down into the seat then?
I mean, she really, at that point, she almost could still be in the way she was, or even she could have been laying down. I really don't know, because like when I'm looking back there, I can't see never probably about that much of the seat, so if anybody kind of slumped over.
Did you hear her say anything? Did you hear her do anything like that?
No, nothing that caught my attention. I was just more so, like what was kind of on my mind was more so like, how it went from when we first pulled up to how calm she is now. It was more so like that, like it went like she was still kicking and screaming, and it went like, like pretty much nothing had happened, she was just back there being over.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, I mean, like I said, that wasn't out of norm for me. I actually locked up one other time. I locked up off a bench warrant, and at the house, she wasn't acting up, but you know, she didn't want to really go. And then when I got in the car, she really wasn't saying much, you know. So that was kind of how I thought she would just be. So, yeah, she, I can't even remember her saying if she said anything. I know she wasn't talking to me if she said anything or nothing that I feel any down anyway. But I don't remember she saying anything. I don't remember she was just totally quiet. I don't know.
Okay. Now, how far down the road did you get before you saw, I guess, Deputy Primus, I guess, drive out? Did you see him drive out of the driveway?
I never saw him drive out the driveway. Once I backed out and I started going forward, pretty much not too long after that, that's when I noticed the reflection. So at this point, I'm just focusing on like what's going on in the back of the car, you know.
Okay.
So I don't know, like, I'm not answering that.
Yeah. Now, when you say a reflection, are you talking about that like center, like rear view mirror, or are you talking about like out the peripherals?
No, it was now my red light on, so I want to say it was more in the windshield of the car itself, but I know it was in that area, but I don't think it was the rear view. I just remember seeing like the reflection in the what I think is the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And that would caught my attention. Don't know what I saw. I just know that I saw some movement back there. Now, you know, I like started mentioning breaking, I started turning around, and by the time I did all that, I saw it just leaving out the car.
Yeah.
You know.
What did you see happening when you look back there? What did you see happening?
When I finally, like when I got a chance to look back, okay, when I looked back, I just saw some part of her just going. It was like brief. Like I just knew that she wasn't in the backseat no more.
Okay.
But I didn't catch, like, you know, like it ain't like I saw a big body part in there. It just caught my attention when I looked back, and I was like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
I got out of the car, you know what I'm saying?
So what part of her body, or not what part of her body, but what part of the door was she exiting out of? Was she exiting at kind of the seat level, or was she like, was it up towards the door? Do you see what I'm saying?
I get your question, and you know, I can't really answer it because I really don't even know what I saw, what part. I just know it had to be her because she was on the body in the back, and I just saw her exiting the car. But like I couldn't even tell you like if I saw her feet. I couldn't tell you if I saw like a shirt. I just know, like I knew it had to be her.
Right. And was it like lower in the door area that she was, or was it like higher up in the door area? That's kind of what I'm wondering, is like, it was a little lower, higher. What part of the door frame did you see that part of, whatever part of her body that it was? What part of her body?
I get you. So like
it's kind of a strange question.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, I really kind of hate to give an answer because I don't know. Like I can't even tell you what. I just knew what. It was more of I just knew that it had to be her getting out of the car.
Okay.
You know, it was more so of that because I mean it was on. She was on with somebody in the back of the car. So.
Do you remember seeing any part of outside through any part of the door? You see, like if the door is open.
I get so
Do
like
you
you
see
does
like
grass
you know, like there's bushes on the side of the
Yeah,
road or something? Do you remember seeing any bushes on the side of the road through that crack in the door?
No, like I don't remember seeing. I knew the door was open, but I don't remember seeing like grass, road, or anything like that.
Okay.
Now, before that, door came open, and you said that you're not sure what part of her or anything like that. You just saw the body leaving the door. Did you hear anything? Like, did you hear any kind of like banging, any kind of like what was going on?
I definitely don't recall hearing banging, and I honestly don't really recall hearing anything.
What about any fiddling with the door handles or like the thing that goes up and down where you can unlock or lock, or and that should be how a normal door is. But like, did you hear any feeling with that?
I honestly didn't hear anything, and I don't know. I don't know if I got caught, and I feel like I got caught by surprise when I saw all that movement and then just turned around because I wasn't expecting it.
Sure.
Anybody got. And I think I got kind of like a tunnel vision because I know that I saw her exiting the car, but keep in mind at this time I'm still thinking she's running. I'm still thinking that she might be about to jump up off the ground and want to fight. So I have no idea. Like I'm just kind of running through like what I'm about to do when I get out the car.
Right.
So to answer your question, no, I can't recall hearing anything.
Did you hear like the door unlatching? Like you can hear somebody opening a door usually, like that very like specific unlatching sound. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah. Did you hear any unlatching going on, or like a door was being unopened?
No, it was no. To me, it was no indication of nothing going on in the back seat.
Okay. So you mentioned the reflection, but was there any other clues that the door was open? Did you hear anything?
No. I would have never even looked back there at that moment if I hadn't noticed the reflection. And like I said, that kind of just it kind of took me by surprise because in my mind she was just moving around, but when I turned around, like the door opened, like everything kind of just left me at that point. Like what I need to do when I get out. Like I said, is she gonna try to fight? Is she gonna try to run through the woods? And I gotta run through the woods tonight. And there was that kind of thing going on in my mind, So like all that. And I know that came afterwards, but like once I saw the reflection, turned around, saw the door open, like my mind just went everywhere.
Okay.
So
Now, how did you know that the door was open then? Because that's what you described as. You said that the door was open. You saw
when at that point,
yeah,
I knew it was open because okay, so once I turned around and I see like her exiting the car or whatever you want to put it, when I saw that, at that point, I could see and I could hear.
Okay, so you could actually hear it. What exactly were you hearing in that moment?
Like air.
Air.
Yeah.
Okay, so the vehicle moving.
Yeah.
How fast do you think the vehicle was going?
I wish I could show y'all where it was. Like it couldn't have been. I know I told you like 15, 20. I don't even. It couldn't have been that fast because it literally. Like where I was sitting there, or not sitting there, where I was standing at, I was literally looking at their mailbox, and it was like I probably could have threw a rock in it. So it couldn't have been that fast.
So like 15, 20-ish, or maybe even less.
Miles
per hour.
Yeah. I think I told you the other day like 15, 25, but like after thinking about it, I think it probably had to be closer to probably 10 and 15 to be pushing it, because I mean it was really like real close. So I just put it in gear, I just started putting it off. So I couldn't have been too much faster.
So when you before you left, a lot of times you call out mileage when you're about to transport somebody. Did you call out your mileage?
Yes, especially I did to answer your question, but we always definitely do that like a male officer, female subject. So I had Jed call that out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I did call it out.
On your car, where's your mileage located at in your dash? I guess.
In the cluster. You want to ask me? I probably told you. It's cause see they put me in an old car. Now I don't know. I know it's on the cluster. It just if it's in the I want to say RPM and mileage right there, and I think it's in the middle of those two. At the bottom, I think.
Okay. Did you see any other indicators or anything else popping up whenever you called out your mileage or whenever you were driving down the road?
The only other indicator that was on there was the check engine.
Check engine? Okay. What does that look like?
It's hard to explain, but like the little pipe looking thing with I guess the turning wheel on top.
Okay. All right. And do you know where on the or on the cluster that is?
It's at the top of not like at the very top, I don't think, but it's closer to the top.
Closer to the top. Okay. So like if you had you got your RPMs and then you have your miles per hour right here, and then do you have like something in the middle, like a little display or something?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's one of those things where you look at it so much, you're just like, I don't know. You just, okay. All right.
Now, does your vehicle, actually, well, before I say that, when you first got into your vehicle and, you're talking about you calling out your mileage or anything like that, did you ever recall putting on a seatbelt?
No, I did not. I know I didn't.
Now, did you ever put on a seatbelt when you started driving or anything like that?
I don't think I did.
No.
Not that particular incident. No,
Okay.
I don't think I did.
And let me ask this too, right before I ask that. When you guys put Brianna into the car, did you guys put a seatbelt on her or anything like that?
To be honest, I didn't put in those, so I don't know, but I don't recall that happening.
Okay.
I can't say that it did, but I don't remember.
Okay. So going back to my other one of you driving down the road and not wearing the seatbelt, does your vehicle ever let you know
If my seatbelt is off?
Yeah.
I think it bings.
Okay. Oh, it bings, so it makes like that distinctive bing.
Right.
Bing? Okay. Is there any other indicator that comes up if you don't have a seatbelt on or anything like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I think it bings. That's all I know. Well, I ain't even sure about it, but I don't know.
Okay.
You mentioned that red light. You have like a red dome light or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that one of those where it automatically comes on when you come into the car, or do you have to turn it on?
I had to turn it on.
Okay. So
And Lieutenant Primus actually told me like when you're going down there, turn it on. So
okay.
like as soon as I got to the car, I don't even know if I had got in. I know I reached up and just turned it on.
Okay. So you recall turning it on though?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did turn it on. Right.
Was there any indicators that were going on while you were driving that said, hey, something abnormal is happening? A door's open, something else, anything like that? Okay.
No.
Now, to go back just a little bit, we're talking about you turning on the dome light. Is there a reason that you guys turned on the red dome light?
Once again, that was Lieutenant Primus. He just told me to turn it on. I asked him a question, I just turned it on.
Okay.
So I don't know why he wanted me to turn it on.
Okay. But you just sort of listened to what he said and you turned it on.
Yes.
Okay. So after she is, out of the vehicle and you stop your vehicle, you said you get out. What side do you go around to go check?
So I get out the car, and like I said, I'm not running until I walk around the car and trying to find what she's doing. And I walk around the car and I go like on the diagonal to her laying in the grass. But she was on my passenger side.
What side do you walk around to get over to her?
I walk all the way around, like the back, the driver's side all the way to the back to the trunk, and then like diagonal
Okay.
to.
How do you remember how she was positioned on the ground?
Face down.
Face down.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be able to? Well, so she's kind of face down. You said, where was her head located? Like, where was the top of her head pointed? If that makes sense.
Don't quote me on it, but I think like she was laying on the ground face down, and I think her face was like kind of turned to the road, and the back of her head would have been, like that.
Okay. I gotcha. Where were her feet pointed then?
That I don't know.
Don't remember. You just remember her head was like kind of towards
That's
the
what
road.
that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that's the kind of what I'm visioning, but I really wasn't paying that much attention to that, but that kind of how I kind of see it.
Yeah. So what happens after that?
After I get out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm calling and trying to wake up. Lieutenant Primus pulling up and getting out by the time, asked me what happened. I went and told him like she just got out of the car. So she come over to where we are. But it was, you know, he run up to where we are. I say run, but he coming up to where we are, and he started, you know, calling her name and started doing his running away, you know, and I know he asked me to get some. He asked me if I had some water. I told him I didn't have it. So he asked me to hold her while he went to his truck, got some water, kind of splashed some in her face. I think he was trying to see if, you know, she would drink some, I guess. And I mean, I think that would, I tried to answer that question. I think that was what you asked.
Now, was EMS requested onto the scene?
Yes,
Okay, who requested EMS?
I did.
Okay, do you remember who the responders were?
I know them. I don't know their names though.
Okay, do you remember what EMS they worked for though?
Grady.
Grady? Okay.
Hold on. I think you Grady. I know him when I see him, but I think they were Grady because I know was it Southwest or somebody worked one not too long ago, but I don't think it was that one. I think Grady came out.
Okay, so it's Grady.
Yeah.
Now, before they came, and you're talking about you were down there and you were kind of like patting her, like calling her name, and you know Deputy Primus came over and kind of helped you out. Did you notice any kind of injuries that she had sustained?
Not at that moment. We had kind of been out there for a little while waiting on Grady, and I want to say it was left elbow and left ankle, like a little round, like the skin got peeled off, like, you know, scratch. I don't want to say stretch because the rim was stretch, but you know, like
Scrape or something?
scrape, yeah, scrape, something like that, yeah.
Okay. Now, were those scrapes like bleeding, anything like that? You know?
It was red. It wasn't like I can't remember like blood just coming out, but it was red. Like, you know how like it bleeding, but the thing just leaking, like that.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, during that time, was she, like, you know, responsive? Was she talking with y'all, or was she kind of like just...
From the whole time of her being out of the vehicle, she wasn't responsive at all.
No, not at all? Okay. Now, when you say not responsive, are you talking like, were her eyes open, were they shut?
When I first walked up to her and I was calling her name, and I was kind of tapping on the side, calling her name, it was kind of what I would call normal breathing. And like I said, as I was doing that, I was starting to hear like a little, like a real light snore, which led me to think that she was unconscious.
Okay.
But that's, and as time went on, it got, you know, a little bit louder, this snoring kind of. And at some point, and I can't tell you at what point, but at some point I had noticed that her eyes were kind of barely open, but not open, you know. But then it went like shut completely, it was just like real.
The slightest opening. Okay. How long do you think that you guys were sitting there, you know, I guess, you know, rendering aid before EMS showed up?
I couldn't tell you, but to me it felt like a real long time.
Okay.
But I couldn't tell you like about how long it was. I know that we sat there for a while. Lieutenant Promise said he was gonna go see if he can, you know, catch him and bring him back to us. And even at that, I sat there for a while. Even then, you know, so it felt like a long time. I don't know how long.
Okay, so he leaves. Did he say why he leaves?
He said he was going to see if he could, I guess, lead them on to us, I guess.
Okay.
He said, you know, I never said he was going to get them, but I guess he was doing that so he could have them come right to us.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, when EMS actually gets on the scene, do you remember them saying anything?
I know they asked me, you know, if there was any marks and things like that, and I told them about the same scrapes. And you know, they kind of just checked over, and they looked into one eye, No, they didn't really say much. They looked into the old one. I know when he looked into the other eye, he a taller guy. When he looked into the other eye, he was like, he told his other partner, like, call the helicopter. And I think he said that she had a ruptured retina.
She had a broke retina?
Ruptured.
Oh, ruptured retina?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Did he mention anything else about it?
I'm trying to think. I know he said that. And see, that's all I can remember him saying that night. And I know something else was said, but I don't even know if I heard that night, so I don't want to say that he said it, you know. But I don't know if that's the same night or not.
Okay.
But I know for a fact he said that 'cause I was standing right there when he said that.
But at that point, that's when they decided to call in for an airlift
Mm-hmm.
to the hospital.
All right.
Okay. Did they say why they're calling in an airlift?
That's what I'm thinking. It might have been the same night, but anyway, I don't know, 'cause I knew why they were calling it. Like when he said rush, I knew why he was calling, but I don't know if he actually verbalized it or not.
Okay.
So that kind of was making me a little confused about it, 'cause when he said it, I knew that they usually come from some kind of head injury, and so I knew, what he was saying, but I can't remember if he actually used the words like it was a head injury or anything like that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Did you notice her having injuries before y'all arrested her? Did you notice any injuries to her?
No injuries that I really noticed, but and I mean I'm trying to answer the question without but no injuries I really noticed, but and it kind of like the whole time I was never really close, or even when I was close I was behind her, so I really didn't get a chance to look at her, you know.
Okay. So, how much of a when she ends up out of the car? What was the first time that the word "jump" was used?
If my memory is right, I believe that's like the first thing I said when Lieutenant Prime pulled up and he asked me like, what happened? I think I was like, man, she jumped out the car.
Okay. Did Lieutenant Prime say anything about maybe leaving the door open, or maybe accidentally leaving that door open or anything like that?
First got out, I think he said like, I don't know, he said like, I might have left that door open, then like not too long after that he was like, no, I know I closed that door, but he did mention it at first.
Okay, so at first he was kind of like, I might have left that door
open. Kind of like
open,
iffy about it, right?
Okay, but then later on he said, I closed it.
Like while we were still out there, he was like, no, I know I closed the door.
Okay. And did, I mean, was the door closed or can you say?
When?
Well, when you guys are driving down the road, say.
I'm almost, I can't say I'm positive, let me sure now, but I'm almost positive just for the simple fact that when I saw it the first time, it was wide open. Mm-hmm. When I saw it later, and then before the car even moved, when I saw it later, it was closed. So when at some point somebody had to put their hands on it, you know. Mm-hmm.
So when he goes around and he opens that door, he says it's wide enough so you can see all the way through the back seat. Mm-hmm. Am I correct? Yeah. Okay. And then when he comes back around to put her in the seat, can you at that point still see through the door?
Or that's like where I get kind of a little faded at, because I don't know if he closed it before he came back. I don't know if he closed it after we got in the car. Mm-hmm. I just know that by the time I got ready to leave, I asked him if he had closed the door, because I remember him opening it. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah. And when he did that, like I'm still standing on the outside, I kind of just look through the back and I see it closed. And then when I'm backing out, it closed. So.
Okay. And so you looked, were you like in the inside of the car or the outside of the car when you looked?
When I looked through the back, like mm-hmm. I was on the outside. Cause I was like walking by. I think it was like right after I got my Bluetooth. I was walking by and I kind of like looked down a little bit and looked through and the door closed.
So you looked through there, and And it at least appeared to you that it was closed?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Now, at any point, I know that you said that Deputy Primus is the one who said, "Hey, like, what happened?" You're the one who said that she had jumped. Was there any more talk about that at any point that night?
That night, you know, like in that moment, we were just going back and forth, you know, but for the most part, we were kind of consumed with trying to wake up, trying to hurry up and get Grady there. You know, so it really wasn't nothing else to really say about that particular part. You know, we were just trying to really make sure we were trying to wake up, trying to make sure we get her help.
Yeah. Now, have you talked with anyone about this case? Be it, you know, Detective Brown, you know, the sheriff, you know, Deputy Primus.
Investigator Brown, yes. Anybody else, anybody else, anything, I don't know how to answer that because it wasn't like in details. It was more so like what was on the news or something like that, but not like the situation at hand.
And what about Lieutenant Primus?
Lieutenant Primus, the only real conversation we had was the night of, you know, like, and that was more so like, you know, what happened, you know, like, you know, she got out, you know, in a way, you know, me saying like we should have jumped out and that kind of stuff, but, like I say, nothing, no conversations with anybody really other than Investigator Brown, other than stuff about like what was said on the news or, you know, things like that.
Was there ever any conversation about, you know, say this, don't say that, you know, leave out some information or anything like that?
No, matter of fact, just about anybody that, you know how people in the community approach you, just about anybody that approaching you, I don't think I heard, so about along those lines, somebody make sure you tell the truth. So,
Yeah. Okay.
nothing like, you know, don't say or do say, nothing like that.
What kind of things did you and Mr. Brown talk about?
For the most part, it really wasn't much of a conversation. We watched a part of the body cam, and it really wasn't, you know, much of a conversation. And
What part of the body cam did y'all watch?
it was more of when we were getting her, like when we were about taking, you know, like from the time it started to we were getting her to the car. Not so much of like when she was out the car.
Okay. What conversation was had about that?
Like I said, I don't. It was more so watching the video, and not. I don't think we even finished it because another deputy had came up and we just started watching it. But I don't remember having any real conversation about it other than just sitting there, just watching it.
Was there anyone else in the room with you guys while you guys were watching it?
I know you guys both wrote reports about, you know, the incident. When did you write your report?
I started on it that night, but you know, it was time for me to do my interview with you, so I think I kind of finished it up that morning.
Okay. And have you written any supplementals or any additional reports or any edited or anything like that?
No, I wrote my first initial supplemental report. My first, well, the original, but it was supplemental to Lieutenant Primus. I wrote that one, and I didn't write anything else.
Okay. All right.
Now, is that kind of a standard thing that you guys do though when you guys write a report? Do you guys write up a like follow-up report regarding that report?
I don't. I did. You mean like Lieutenant did when I did one?
No, like, would it be common for you, once you write your first report, whether that's a supplemental or whether that's the, you know, narrative, is it common for you to go back and rewrite that ever?
Oh no, I typically write every time I write a report, I write my report, and that's pretty much the one I give, and, unless like I make I got way too many lines where I scratched out one word, you know, like the one line I scratched out. If I got too many of those, I'll literally copy that one and take the mistakes out. But I only do my one report.
Right. So other than you, like, I don't know if your supervisor like sends it back saying, hey, like you misspelled this word or something like that. Does that ever happen or? Like
Not since I got started. When I first got started, you know, the captain used to say little stuff like that.
Sure.
But since I got on my own, you know.
Okay. And we're just kind of we're as far as procedure goes, you know, just trying to figure out how, you know, reports get written and stuff like that. So,
Have you seen anyone else, like, because I know you're talking about yourself, but have you ever heard about anyone else ever writing a revised report, anything like that?
I have never heard, but you know, like I said, it's one of the things I'm answering a question, but I don't know what people do, and I don't like to really go in detail. But as far as I know, nobody.
Yeah, it's to the best of your knowledge, you know.
Right.
But
as far as I know, no.
Okay.
let me ask you about body cams, because I don't know what your guys' policy is. When do you guys typically activate your body camera?
Once again, like with me, a lot of it depends on the call. A lot of it depends on when I decide if I'm gonna make an arrest or not, and a lot of it depends on whether that person is seeming to me to escalate a little bit. But if I'm standing there talking to somebody like we talking, I might not even turn my camera on.
Okay. And what about you know, terminating that recording? Tell me about how that ended up in this situation. How did you end up terminating your recording?
Terminate?
Like stopping your recording. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant like a guy that lost it or something. Actually, Lieutenant Promise. He told me, you know, like, go ahead and cut it off. And we had been outside for quite a while at that point.
Okay. Was there any reason that you decided?
I have no idea.
Okay.
How did he tell you to stop recording?
I want to say he said cut it, like, and I think, you know, like that justice, like cut it.
Okay, like this kind of motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and cut it, something along those lines.
Did he say why that was after the fact or anything like that?
No.
Is that like a standard thing to do, though?
Those kind of questions, you know, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to answer that question. So
I get it. It's
I don't usually work with Lieutenant Promise. I usually work with another deputy. So sometimes when you and that's I started off with the captain, and I stayed on there like 2 months with him, and since then I've been working with other deputies. So sometimes working with other deputies, I really don't know what their norm is. Like me and my partner, we work the way we work. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't really too much know how the other ones work because I only work with one here and there, so on and so forth. But
I gotcha. Well, I guess a better way to revise it anyway is that every situation is different, right? You know, us being law enforcement, we know that it's an ever-revolving door of you never know the kind of situation that you're going to be in. They're constantly evolving, rapidly evolving situation, right?
right.
Have you ever had an instance where, like, you know, like this, where like the body cam just, you know, stops? I guess.
Like in the middle of the incident.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, a lot of times when I'm on calls, if the situation kind of escalates, I'll turn it on. And it was like as soon as I notice it's, you know, getting kind of rowdy. And a lot of times, as soon as we kind of like tone back down, I cut it off. So it's no time frame that I use. You know,
It's just when everything kind of calms down.
In my experiences with people, it seems like they usually kind of respond better when they know my camera off. You know, like they kind of not necessarily de-escalate, but it seems like they're easier to talk to. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So a lot of times I just cut it off, and then like they start showing out, I cut it on. You know, or if I know I'm about to arrest somebody, a lot of times I just go ahead and cut it on, and usually, you know, it ain't no particular time. It just kind of depends on how everything going that on that call.
Okay, I gotcha.
So to kind of clarify, at any point do you specifically remember hearing that rear passenger door being shut, like that shutting noise.
I can honestly not give a real answer on that one.
Okay.
I'm not even sure where I was when it got shut. The only thing I can say about it, like I said earlier, was I know at one point it was wide open, and I know I looked back there twice because I looked back there after I asked them, and I saw it was closed. And then when I was backing out, I didn't have a truck to look back there, and it was closed. So, and I hate to be like, yeah, I heard it, or like, no, I didn't, because I can't honestly recall if I heard anything.
Right, and if you don't recall, I guess what I'm asking is, do you specifically recall hearing it?
Oh no, I definitely don't specifically, but I don't know.
Right. Right.
Now, also, since you're very familiar with your vehicle and everything like that, and we drive very different vehicles, and our vehicles let us know when a car door is open. Do you guys with the Charger, is there a certain display or sensor that tells you that, hey, there's a door that's open?
There is a red light, it look like a little car with the door open, and it's on the bottom left, I think.
Bottom left?
Of the cluster. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the cluster being like the back dashboard right there. Okay.
Speedometer.
Okay. So it looks like a car door though, and does it show what door is open?
To be honest, I never paid any attention like it showed. It's all the one I always notice is the one I use, the driver's front door. It's always that door open. So I don't know if you open the passenger door, if it show that door or not.
Okay.
Do you recall seeing that night?
No, I don't recall seeing it.
Now, is there any reason why you would believe that door was open, that rear passenger door?
Is there a reason I believe it was open?
Yeah. Would there be any reason?
Oh, like what could have possibly caused that?
Yeah.
Oh no, I have no. I'm still pulling about it myself. I have no idea.
No idea.
No.
Do you think that there would be any possibility of it possibly being open?
I mean, when you say possibilities, I think of possibilities like anything could have been possible. But when I saw it closed, to me it was closed. So
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how to answer that one.
Okay.
Let me ask you, I have some pictures that I'd like to show you.
Yes, sir.
And it's just kind of wanting to see, because I know we talked about the little icon that you said comes up whenever a door opens up. And I'm just trying to make sure I've got, like, if this is what we're talking about. So I know this isn't like perfectly clear, but this is from your body cam, and this is your car. You're in this moment, you're actually just about to get into the car. You haven't quite opened the door yet. There's like a little icon right here. Would that be where your door open symbol would be?
I can't hardly tell it. Is that part of the cluster over there to the left?
So this is you've got that little center place where it has like, your tire pressures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this looks like this is where you're like over here would be where your speed. Here, I'll show you a better one right here to kind of give you a frame of reference if you'd like. So there's your speed right here. Here's your, this looks like your tire pressure right here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a little symbol right here. It's kind of cut off a little bit. Is that where that door open symbol usually is?
It looked like it's in the area, sir.
Okay, all right. Well, what I'm asking is, like, is that where you recall that symbol, that location?
Right. I mean, without looking at the car, that's kind of what I would kind of imagine it because it's kind of in the bottom left, like the car.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right. All right. So. So yeah, going back to this one, would that also be kind of the same location right there? That and what I'm referring to is this light right here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the location that indicator would be?
That, like I said, without looking at it, that kind of what I would think it would be.
Okay.
The only thing I know about it is it's kind of on the bottom left. I don't know if it's all the way to the left or, but that,
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it if that was it.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna step out real quick.
Yeah. Now, regarding everything that happened as well, I know that you had said that Deputy Primus is the one who asked, hey, like, you know, what happened here, the one who said that she had jumped. I'll be very clear about it. At any point, I mean, did anyone ever tell you to say that she had jumped from the vehicle?
No. I really, and like I said earlier, I really thought like she kind of jumped out and started running. That's what my initial thoughts was.
Okay.
I didn't realize she was like laying on the ground, so I actually walked around the car. I walked around the car, and then I still kind of hesitated. I was like, we wasn't going that fast, so I'm thinking she like ready to jump up, but no, nobody was.
I got you.
About that.
Okay.
That's
So your conclusion then, when you're processing everything that had happened, the reason that you said that you utilized the word jump is because you thought that she was trying to escape the vehicle.
Right.
Okay. Now, have you ever had any issues with your car door or anything like that? No. Okay. Is it standard then for it to lock from? I guess when it's locked, like you can't open it from the from the inside. You can only open it from the outside.
You're not supposed to do it from the inside.
Okay. For like any reason, even if you, let's say, because I know she was handcuffed from the front. Let's say if she was like pulling on the car door, you know, I know there's those little locks on the top. Like if she pulled open that top lock and she tried opening the door, would that door move?
To be honest, I mean, I've never spent a lot of time back there, so I couldn't tell you, like, if you start playing with it, what would happen. But, and a lot of times when people that are kind of like incarcerated, a lot of times we're not in the car very long. A lot of times they, you know, actually come on freely and willingly. So, I mean,
Just to the best of your knowledge, you just know it opens from the outside, but
Right.
you don't know if
Right.
if they start messing with it, what's going to happen.
right. And like I said, I don't know, like opening from being back there, other than opening it for somebody. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had a reason to be back there. So I wouldn't be able to tell you they can pull it open, pull the door. I wouldn't know.
Okay. Sounds good. And like we discussed earlier, you said that you kind of watched the body cam footage and everything like that. Other than that, Tom, I mean, have you talked with anyone else regarding this case?
Not, like I said, not in details. Small county when it came on news, my mother asked me about it, but still not in details. Just what was on the news, but not asking like what happened or how it happened or anything like that. Cause still to this day, I still don't have a clue
I got
what he
you.
would say now. What happened now. So.
Let me. Could you do us a favor? So we've got your car actually here. We actually brought your car over here to do some tests and stuff like that to it. And we actually were wondering if you would come with us to where the car is, because we want to show you where that indicator is and see if. Well, oh, did you need to take? If you need to take that, you're welcome to. Okay. So, let me just kind of get to the point where I want to kind of talk to you about what this has led up to, essentially. Essentially, we've run a lot of tests with the car. We've run different scenarios. What if the door's in this position? What if, blah, blah, blah. We've watched the body cam a million times over. We've read the reports. We've listened to the audio. As we've watched a lot of the video frame by frame, which is how we kind of got those screenshots and things like that. So what I'm getting to you at, what I'm getting at is that that rear door was not closed.
It wasn't.
No. So, here's the reason that we come to that conclusion, and it's putting all the pieces together between knowing that that door was opened, and that's pretty consistent. That door was opened according to y'all's statements by Lieutenant Primus, and at some point she's put in the car, through another door. And that whenever you get into the car, your body cam actually picks up that door open symbol. As you're driving away, your door is closed, that back rear, or that driver rear side door is closed.
Mm-hmm.
You're backing up out of the car, and you can see that door open symbol on the car. And you start driving out, and all of a sudden, it's not like you hear any like big banging or something. Like, we actually, tried to kind of kick our way out of your car by running some tests out of it. We had an agent that was Amelia, was trying to kick her way out of the car, and while I was sitting in the car, and it would have been very noticeable to you if she had tried to do that. Exactly. So that's not what happened, but the door is open. Essentially, that's what it kind of comes down to. Is you see that door open symbol, open or showing up, throughout, on multiple times in your body camera. Not saying that somebody did that on purpose at all. I don't believe that anybody ever intended for this to happen. Based on y'all's interaction with her, I think y'all, this was just another Thursday night. But the conclusion based on all of the evidence is that that door was open.
That's so long.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm just went up on me.
So, what is your initial reaction to that? I mean,
I don't know how to react to
okay.
it. Of course, no matter how shit got out, I hated it happened anyway.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, and I'll ask you this. And I think I kind of know the answer. But you and Lieutenant Primus didn't conjure up a plan to throw her out of the car, right? Okay. And I asked that. One, just to make sure that I ask it, but two, I don't believe that that's what the case is. But based on all of the evidence, you saw yourself that symbol shows up whenever you open a car door, and that, like I showed you on the body cam. I know it's kind of fuzzy, but that symbol is on your dash as you're actually, before you even get into your car, before you open your driver's side door to get into the car, indicating that the door is already still open, and also when you're backing out of the car, or backing out of the driveway, that symbol is still up, indicating that the door is open. And I think that's, it's pretty clear to us that that's how this happened. But I don't think that anybody did this on purpose. But what we're trying to, at this point, what we want to do is we're just trying to get the truth about all of this. We're trying to get the truth about everything. And we don't want anybody, whether that's anybody in the sheriff's office, not saying that you would do this, but anybody in the sheriff's office attempt to misrepresent what happened because they feel like they're wanting to not get in trouble or something like that. What it amounts to is we don't want anybody to, not tell the truth. The truth is the only way in this kind of case. We've got, and good, bad, or indifferent. We as law enforcement officers just have to own up to what happened, and that's our job, is just to tell the truth and to gather the facts. Is there anything that makes you believe that? Well, let me ask you this: is there anything that from what you've told us that needs to be clarified based on, just, knowing what we've already talked about?
No, I mean,
Everything that you've told us has been truthful.
yeah,
Everything.
I mean, I don't have nothing like to. I mean, I feel like I was as honest as I could be about it, but
Yeah.
I never thought it over,
Okay.
Now, I want to ask you this as well. What do you think Deputy Primus's reaction would be if he knew that that door was open?
I would assume he'd be just as, lost as I am, that's what I would think.
Has he talked to you about anything about as far as, whether the door was open or closed?
No, like I said, the only time he mentioned that was when it first happened. Like, I can't remember exactly what he said. He said, like, I don't know if I know that. Did I leave the door open or something along those lines?
Mm-hmm.
And then, he came back out there and said, I know I closed the door.
Okay.
So that's the only time that came up.
No, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Going forward, has anyone, let me ask you this, because, what we're concerned about is we don't want anybody to try to alter, reports or alter their statements because, of what has been discovered in this investigation. Like I said, good, bad, and indifferent, the truth is what needs to be told, not a different story. Do you have any indications of anybody trying to misrepresent, trying to alter reports, trying to write a revised report, or anything like that?
Not that I know.
Okay.
And let me follow up with that too, just so that we're very clear about this as well. As you know, we've discussed all this evidence that we had and the reviews that we did. And no, you're fine. In our interview, sitting down today, when we were talking, right, you specifically said that you were the one who said that she had jumped from the vehicle, and you thought that she had jumped from the vehicle because she was trying to escape the vehicle, trying to run away.
I thought that was possible, yes.
And I'll let you know right now, you were not the one who said that she had jumped from that vehicle.
Really?
No.
I swear I thought I was like when he first pulled up and he asked me what happened. I thought I said he jumped her. She jumped her.
And this is why I'm going into it of why I was being very specific about if you've ever talked to anyone regarding this case or why that was brought up. If that makes sense.
Right. I really thought, and when I called, I thought I said that too. When I called them and told them, I thought I said it too. So I literally thought I said that.
So the body cam basically, it shows that whenever you get out of the car, there's an exchange between you and Primus where Lieutenant Primus says, "Should jump out the car?" And you said something to the effect of yes. Which I don't expect you to remember every exact detail. Okay,
Right.
That's not practical. But that is something that we want to explore is who and how did the jump part come? Like, how was that? How was that word initiated?
Yeah.
Why was that used? And whether that's somebody just trying to explain or like trying to logically put it together how this occurred, or whether that's somebody that's trying to cover up a mistake. We're trying to figure out whether that's one of the two. You see what I'm saying? There's a big difference.
Yeah, I wouldn't be covering up like
Sure.
It had been different, what I'm saying. I would say what I have to say about it, but I pretty much thought I said that because that was in my mind. Like I'm the one that said it.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't expect you to remember. And the fact that that somebody else says that, that's something that we ask. We'll ask other people. Hey, did you say this or things like that. But what we're getting at is, and let me ask you about your conversation with Mr. Brown, Investigator Brown. I know that you said that there wasn't much conversation there, but was there anything like, were you narrating the video saying, hey, this is what happened, this is what could have happened, something about anything?
It's like, I can't even remember what part. It was probably a part or maybe two where where I was probably speaking, or and he might have been like, "What you say right there?" And I might have said it, but as far as like this what happened here, this what happened there.
So it was basically the part of the video where you guys were interacting with with Brianna, but this was before that she was out on the road.
Right. Matter of fact, I think I'm not 100% positive, but I think the part where he asked me about what I was looking for when I was looking for my Bluetooth or something like that. It was something, but whatever it was, it went like scene by scene or part by part. It was just, he asked me what I said or what I was doing or something along the line.
And at any point, has anyone asked you to revise your report or change anything in your report or anything like that? Okay.
Or maybe even like be it a report, or even like talk to you about the event and try saying, hey, maybe say this instead of saying this, or anything like that.
No. Like nobody asked me anything along those lines, nor would I have like literally changed anything. Like I said, I wrote my first report. That was it. That's how I do all my reports. Whatever, if I have to, I do a supplemental to it, but I don't change none of my reports. So,
do you know what Lieutenant Primus? Do you know what he said in his report?
No.
Do you know of him changing anything in his report or anything like that?
No. I don't know if he did or not.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, is there any? I'll just kind of put it like this: is there anything that we need to add or clarify now that you know that kind of the evidence is definitely pointing towards towards the answer of what happened? Is there anything that we need to add or clarify?
As far as as far as what happened, it is. I don't know what y'all tell us, but I just hate it happen. I'm sorry it happened. But as far as what was said, no. To the best of my knowledge, everything that I said was true. Like I said, the part that you just said, I really thought it was me. But anything else, if I said it, I think I said it. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. In my mind, that I try to. I try to answer your question without giving a whole bunch of speculation and whatnot, but that's just something that slipped through,
Well, and that's one thing. We're not. I'm not really concerned about the fact that you felt that you had said that, because oftentimes, especially in those situations that your heart's beating, you're breathing real fast, you're it's one of those situations where you got a lot of things going all at the same time. It's dark out there. I'm not really worried about that. And what I'm just kind of concerned about is just I don't want anybody feeling like they need to misrepresent the truth because of the evidence that we have uncovered.
Right.
And so I want to make sure that no one's tried to influence you or going even a step further. Do you have any knowledge of anyone trying to, for a lack of a better word, I guess, cover anything up or misrepresent anything or alter reports or anything like that?
As far as I know, no. Definitely nobody came to me, but as far as I know, nothing like that happened.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this then. Is there anything else based upon what we discussed today that may be of importance that we have not asked?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I can't think of anything. No.
Okay. Well, you have my number, and I have yours. If I have any more questions, or if Ethan has any more questions, or do you have a problem if we reached out to you and gave you a call?
No, definitely call me.
So.
I don't have no problem with it at all.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming in. I'm sorry, did you do that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate everything that you've, the fact that you've come, spoke with us. It's a tough situation. Obviously it's very tragic, but it's one of those where, as law enforcement officers, it's just our job to speak the truth.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming down here and talking to us at length again. I know, sorry, it's probably taken a little bit longer than what you thought, but I appreciate
It's fine.
you.
I mean, I don't have any problem in that. I just hate, I just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we appreciate it. If you have questions or concerns, give us a call, we'll be happy to answer as questions as best we can. We may not be able to answer everything, but we appreciate you nonetheless. So, alrighty. All right.
Well, thank you for stopping in.
No problem. And like I said, if y'all need anything, I usually work all night, all the time. So
Right.
Right. And I'll be up half a day anyway.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'll show you out the water.